Good morning, it's Veronica Farmer from Angel's Rest here. Just wanted to share a couple of interesting things that happened today. I am an intuitive healer and an author, collecting stories from all around the world from people who have been made beautiful by tough life experiences, and from that have been driven into a great sense of purpose. And I love doing that work, but I also hold space in here for those who are struggling, and I do a lot of that work. But I had a couple of interesting things happen this morning. The first one was I woke up to a blog that had been written that had mentioned me, and the blog was about psychics that you can't trust and psychics that you can. I was put on the list of the ones you can trust, which was cool, but it was kind of really triggering for me because that's not something that I would ever call myself. And this is why. So when we think of the idea of a psychic, we think about going and sitting with somebody that reads them and then tells them what is coming. That's not what I do. So, and I actually really believe that that is a dangerous practice. I do. And this is why. I think we all have the ability to get quiet enough to listen. I think just about everyone you know has had a moment where they've thought of someone and then the phone's rung and it just happens to be them. There is a great superhighway, like an enormous Wi-Fi that connects all of us. And some of us are able to get quiet enough to listen. And when you can listen, you can hear all sorts of things in that Wi-Fi. And that Wi-Fi, interestingly, does not have a sense of time. So it'll quite simply tell you what is going on for them right now. Maybe it's a thing that they're still holding in their body from decades before, an event, someone looked at them the wrong way, or they had a horrible relationship, or whatever it was. So I think for an intuitive to work in the most loving way, the most respectful way, and the most honourable way is to instead call themselves a listener. And that's what I do. I'm not doing anything. I haven't got any kind of special gift. But what I can do is I can hear that Wi-Fi around that particular person at that particular moment in time. Now, sometimes I will hear things really clearly. So I might hear, obstruction in a vessel, or I might hear trauma through the knee, and that's cool. My job is to simply listen until the body stops talking, and this is not done out loud. So I sit with somebody in silence generally. They talk, their bodies talk about what's going on for them, and they'll share what's important at that particular moment in time that needs to go. And the only question I ask by sitting with them in deep, unconditional acceptance of whatever comes up. And I've got to tell you, I work with soldiers that have returned from the Gulf, and they've done some pretty horrendous things, in the name for their country, and, they come back and they suffer. If I sat there and judged what I could see in my mind's eye, or what I could feel, or what I could hear, I'd be a really, really crap person to be doing this work. And frankly, our job in this work as an intuitive is never to judge. Not ever, ever. I find that those people that have been through the most horrific traumas, or even inflicted them, if they are in a place of laying that down, if they're in a place of looking for another way to be, then, I kind of love them more than just your everyday Joe that's going on doing the same stuff over and over and over. There is huge courage, huge bravery in people that are willing to look at the way they're living and change it and shift it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, the other interesting thing that happened to me this morning that kind of triggered this little rant was that I went off to yoga. I still got the wet hair and hot face from the hot room. But I was sitting in yoga, I was practicing and breathing and loving it, because that's my place where I lay down a lot of old stuff and find clarity. And as I came out, I didn't really notice who was around me. And this woman came up to me, she goes, I was practicing next to you and I was really scared that you were reading me because I know what you do. And you know, it made me feel kind of really sad. I thought, well, wow, that makes a lot of sense, because there are people in my life that, you know, they'll come in, I'll get to know them, they find out what I do, and then they get freaked out. They get freaked out that I'm going to read them. I guess this is my message here. I'm not interested in what you've done. I'm not interested in all the dark, dodgy stuff that you've done. I'm not looking for that. All I'm interested in, and it's only if you ask me to, usually in here, or, you know, in a conversation where you are asking me, and it's the only time that I'll look, because you've asked me to, is how can you be happier? And then sometimes I might hear something like resentment for dad, or, you know, rage towards that situation that happened when you were younger. It's not my job to tell you how to be, and I think any psychic is doing a great disservice if they're telling anyone how they should live and how they should be. I think there's probably been a couple of instances in my practice career over the last sort of 12, 13 years where I have made a very clear statement, and that has been because these people are in extraordinary danger, and I absolutely know when I get a warning like that. I've had warnings like that in my own life that have saved my own life, and I think there's probably about 3 instances where I've had 2 women and 1 man that have come in, and their partners are essentially psychopaths, very dangerous, and at that point I've said, you're going to pack up and go. This is your warning. You can choose to do it or not do it, but I suggest you get out now. But you know, that's rare. Of the thousands of people that I've worked with, my job is to listen, hold space, help people feel calm and, you know, a bit more sassy and cheeky. This is what I know from this work. There is no one with a pointy finger looking at you, deciding whether you are good enough, deciding whether you are perfect enough to be loved. You know, and a lot of that stems from when you're a kid, you're told, behave. You know, if you don't behave, you're not loved. If you behave, you're loved. And that washes through our society. You know, religions do that as well. Let me tell you this, you are loved anyway. You are loved always. You are loved irrespective of what you do on this planet. But what I got to say is that those who are kind of a little bit more gorgeously loved are those that are brave enough to move and to look at how they're living that maybe isn't a particularly loving way, and try something that's kinder. You know, that's kind of lovely. You'll find that a lot more beautiful things will come around you in your life when you start to live that way. Less about yourself, your own ego, but actually thinking about others in your life and how they matter to you. So that's my little rant of my intuitive rant today. Do feel free to, you know, ask me any questions. I'm happy to answer any. And if you want to read some stories from incredible people who have risen past some of life's toughest challenges, I do recommend you click on the link above and read some stories from Made Beautiful by Scars. If you want to work with me at Angel's Rest, you can work with me from a distance. The link is above for Heal My Story, and I'm happy to work with people on Skype. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, I can still work with you. Or if you want to work with me one-on-one here, always happy to see you. Have a gorgeous day, my friends. Take care, and next time you go to book into a psychic, just ask yourself, maybe I know the answer myself. Take care, my friends. Bye.